1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Royal Blue Podcast Soundcheck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Post-match show live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Soundcheck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello and welcome to the Royal Blue Podcast. It is the post-match show with me, Ian Croll. A defeat for Everton against Spurs, a heavy home defeat, conceding 3. We're not happy, Tom, are we?
We're not. Our first home defeat in our new stadium.
Yeah.
I think games like today you are going to see quite often. There's nothing in it. Now, I know the 3-0 scoreline, it looks like a battering, but it wasn't a battering, so to speak. Everton, I think, had more possession than Spurs, created some really good chances. There's an argument to say Jake O'Brien's goal could have counted. Missed a really good chance with Beto. Obviously, one kicked off the line through Grealish. A couple of chances here and there, but overall, I don't think we deserve to win. Did we deserve to lose? There's an argument to that, but I think we're going to see a lot of games like that this season, where there's nothing in it, and whoever's more ruthless in front of goal will take the 3 points. Now, there's probably similar to the Brighton game, similar to the Crystal Palace game. We were fortunate enough to take 3 points in both of them games, but today we wasn't, and there's just the defined margins in these Premier League games. At Brentford, you've seen what he's doing now at Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham are taking on average like 23, 24 seconds per throw-in alone. So he shows you the fine details these football clubs now are putting into set pieces, because do you know the law of averages? You're winning games of football if you're obviously very, very good at set pieces, and that's one thing Tottenham are now. Brentford, you've seen it. Arsenal are the masters at it. There's no coincidence why they're top of the Premier League, because yet they've got very good players they can score from non-set pieces, but they're very good from set pieces, defending them and scoring them as well. So it's a big function, and it's a big weapon that a lot of clubs are using in the Premier League, and Everton, I just hope it's a one-off. I really do, because they have been very good from defending them. Offensively, I know we scored and Jake O'Brien scored today, but I looked at Sean Dyche's Everton last season, and it was mainly focused on set pieces. I get it, and we had a lot of success. But this season, I don't see Everton scoring many from set pieces, mainly because we've just changed our style of play. Like Jack Grealish, Iliman Ndiaye, and Dewsbury also. We've changed our style of play, so maybe that you have to come and factor that. But yeah, I think it's just a one-off today. We haven't conceded any goals from set pieces so far this season. It's a one-off. let's hopefully Moyes will get the players back at Finch Farm this week, going again against Sunderland, because they'll be a threat from set pieces as well.
Just got to say that we lost a little bit of sound there, so I do apologise for anyone who's watching live, for anyone who's listening post-match on Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Then I'm sure you will have heard everything that we've just said, so I do apologise if... I think it was when I was speaking, so I think everything you've just said, so I think we're good. I'm quite surprised, if I'm being honest, so that you're calling it a one-off.
Yeah, because we've been very good from set pieces this season. You look at the amount of goals scored in the Premier League alone over this weekend. Look at it over the 9 games in the Premier League so far this season. All the games, it's set pieces. The attention to detail football clubs are putting in set pieces, defending them and offensively. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of managers now with the set piece coaches involved and are spending 2-3 hours a day on set pieces alone.
No,
and for us to defend them as well as we've done so far this season is only testament to how well Everton have defended them. Now, today we switched off. Jake O'Brien for the first one, instead of marking the player, obviously jumped to the line, instead of marking Van de Ven, he scored. And the second one, obviously, the ball was pinpoint accuracy right in the middle of Michael Keane and James Tarkowski. Goal. That's it. But apart from that, this season Everton been very good at them. So you can't pick holes and say, set pieces. I know it's a big factor of the game right now, but me personally, I think it's a one-off, and I'm sure David Moyes will be saying exactly the same thing and saying, yeah, we should have defended them.
You're saying it's a one-off set piece wise. What about overall performance wise? Because I thought we were actually poor, if I'm going to be totally honest. Tottenham are a good team. They've had 1 or 2 poor results up and down, similar to us really. I think they've picked up a few more points than us now. Just felt like David Moyes' team selection was fairly predictable, to be honest. I thought, couldn't quite understand how it took him 60 minutes to realise that the midfield wasn't doing its job properly, that we were being overrun in the midfield, that, Ndiaye, head and shoulders above the rest again, certainly in the first half, was pretty much doing everything by himself. I thought Grealish was poor today, but he was also, because he was isolated, he's got a poor left back behind him who doesn't know when to overlap or when to stick.
Yeah.
That comes. I don't know whether that's going to come for Mykolenko, but there was
you can't
times,
change that though, can you? You've only got one left back at the club. That's it.
No, but there was times where Mykolenko was overlapping when he should have stayed, and he was staying when he was overlapping, and I just thought he was very weak. I'm just making observations. Obviously, it sounds like I'm picking on players. Again, like I say, the 60 minutes it took him to realise that he needed to make a sub in midfield, and Tottenham made 2 subs before we made ours. And
would it have made a difference? That's my argument.
Well,
you look at that bench, and listen, my big R word, recruitment.
Well, we can't talk about recruitment on that, can we?
I know we can't, but you look at it. Tottenham have got 2 strikers on the bench. Get into our team alone. So it is all about recruitment. When you're bringing Thierry Barry on for Beto, when they're bringing Richarlison on and Matthias Tell sat on the bench, there's a big difference here in golfing class alone. So you do look at recruitment. You look at Everton's summer transfer business. Over £85 million worth of transfers was sat on Everton's bench today alone. Not on the pitch. So if you're the recruitment team, you're going, hang on, we've bought Thierry Barry, Tyler Dibling, Carlos Alcaraz, Maitland Rowe and Adam Asnou all sat there on the bench. What does that tell you about the summer transfer business?
Well, first off, it tells me that Moyes has got options that he's not using and he doesn't trust at this moment in time, which is, I agree with you, a bit of a damning indictment of the situation. But consistently playing Ndiaye, Dewsbury Hall and Grealish with Beto up top is clearly not working. It's clearly not. Now, I've made the argument in the past, defending Beto, that we're obviously not playing to his strengths. Quite clearly today, he missed, 2 or 3 opportunities.
It's per game now, Ian. It's per game.
No, I know that's fair enough. So I can't just sit here now and defend him and stuff like that and say, well, he's missing opportunities. We're not playing to his strengths, blah, blah, blah. But obviously the first one in the first couple of minutes, he obviously should have done better. I thought it was a bit of a spectacular effort for the overhead.
Yeah.
I thought he's
done well. He was unlucky.
The keeper, to be fair, Tottenham keeper, made 2 very good saves, 2 very big saves. It was the Beto one, and there was another one. I can't remember what it was. It was it the Ndiaye effort. Ndiaye had an effort on about 72 minutes. So 2 big saves there. So it's not like we didn't have chances. I just think at half time there, he waits another 15 minutes before he makes a sub, and Tottenham have already made their move in the match. And I felt like it did. Roll coming on had more of an impact on the midfield. James Garner moving out to the right, but again, it's just the same sub with Garner moving out to the right every single time. Why not play him from the start? I know Roll's being injured, but if I can revert to Dewsbury Hall at the moment in time, it's all just huff and puff with him at this moment in time. There's no real dynamism or...
Who's this with, sorry?
Dewsbury Hall. Playing as that number 10. I'm not saying he's not good enough. I'm not saying take him off the team. I'm just saying what we're doing at this moment in time with the 3 of Grealish.
Well, where'd you put him then?
Well, he's got to play deeper for me. I'm sick to death of saying it. He's a player who will progress the ball forward from deep. And if I'm being totally honest, I think we're starting to see the limitations now of Idrissa Gana Gueye. I thought he was dreadful today.
I agree.
He was fouling players all over the shop. It's very, very lucky to only get 1 booking, if I'm being totally honest, with that referee.
Yeah.
You know what he's like?
Yeah.
Card happy. And I was flabbergasted that he waited until 60 minutes to change that midfield.
I felt sorry for James Garner at times today, because that midfield was getting overrun, and there's just a guy over the past 2 or 3 weeks looks as though, with being on an international duty as well, listen, we know he's coming to the tail end of his career, and he's been a great servant to Everton Football Club, but he looks a little bit leggy over the past 3 or 4 weeks. Now, maybe it could be a situation where David Moyes go, right, we're going to Sunderland's away next week. We need legs in the middle of the park. Just you're going to sit this one out, Mail Rolls back on the side, just to get you around the pitch a lot more, keep hold of the ball, because it's just a Gana Gueye over the last couple of weeks. It's just looked a little bit leggy. For me, no, I'm not sure you'll have seen it. I was watching, obviously, Grealish and Ndiaye get the ball, and Ndiaye was brilliant today. I felt sorry for him at times. Because,
certainly in the first half, he was running the show, wasn't he?
And then he's obviously, they're looking up, and they're putting balls in the 6-yard box, key balls, which you want a striker to hit, and there's nobody there. And there was an instance where Jack Grealish got the ball in the first half. I was watching it very closely. He was literally pointing to Beto, saying, come in front of your defender and I'll knock it to you and hold the ball up for us. And Beto just didn't have a clue. You didn't have a clue. And Grealish is telling him, get in front of your defender and I'll put the ball to you and you can lay it off. And Beto, his game intelligence is awful. It's absolutely awful. His goal scoring records is awful. His holds up play is... It's not even 50-50.
It's on the manager today for me, though, Tom. It's on the manager.
As in what? How was it on the manager?
Well, he's waited 60 minutes before he's made a sub with 2-0 down.
So, all right. But 60 minutes have gone since then. 60 minutes have gone with 2-0 down.
I wouldn't have started that team in the first place.
So it's so predictable. I think we all knew that lineup was getting put out today.
No, there's a difference in saying you'll beforehand to say, this is what Moyes is going to do and this is what I would do or what you would do. There's a difference in that. I said on Friday in the pre-match podcast that this is what I think Moyes would do, but it's not what I would do.
What would you have done?
Okay, well, certainly, to be honest, at this moment in time, I think Beto is quite clearly struggling. So you mentioned it in the past. I think he's got to start looking at maybe bringing Ndiaye further up the pitch as a striker. I don't think he's going to do that. So again, it's going back to what I think Moyes would do. James Garner has got to go right back. Jake O'Brien's not having any impact whatsoever. I know he scored the goals disallowed, but from an attacking point of view with the ball in play, Ndiaye is doing everything by himself. There's no overlap threat whatsoever.
Okay.
From Jake O'Brien. And when Ndiaye kind of hits a bit of a brick wall on that right flank, he'll stop, turn back, pass the ball to Jake O'Brien, and Jake O'Brien will just whip a hopeful ball into the box, and it's just easily defended out.
I'll play devil's advocate here. If you take Jake O'Brien out the team and put James Garner in the team as a right back and take Jake O'Brien out, you're left with Michael Keane and James Tarkowski as virtually your only lads who are over 6 foot. And we just mentioned the importance of set pieces alone. Everton will get out.
Not if Maitland Roll comes into the team.
Well, if Roll comes into the team, then that's obviously you got a bonus there. But I think O'Brien's in that team, for set pieces offensively and defensively. Now, it backfired, but Everton had the best record from set pieces defending in the season. So today's just a complete one-off. You'd hope. I think there's a lot of... You look at Arsenal's back four. They play 4 centre-backs. That's what they do. Them 4 lads are all 6 foot plus. And they flood the box. You've seen Brentford over the weekend. You've seen there's a lot of teams now that just specialise in set pieces because they've got big lads on the pitch. So if you take Jake O'Brien out that team and you put James Garner as a fullback, you basically got Mikalenko and James Garner as your fullbacks from set pieces. You are asking for trouble.
The issue hasn't been conceding as such as it. The issue is
because Jake O'Brien's been playing. That's my argument. And I'm playing devil's advocate. I'll guarantee, well, I wouldn't guarantee as such, but I wouldn't be surprised if the data guys at Everton will be saying Jake O'Brien from set pieces of defensively is more of a use to us than what James Garner would be. Of course he would, because he's 6 foot odd and he wins out.
From a defensive point of view, but from an attacking point of view, you know, you just leave and die and isolated, or he's literally having to do everything by himself. I've never seen the ball other than one like a Messi or a. I'm not comparing and die to a Messi, but I've never seen the ball stick to a player's foot as close as it has.
You should be playing up front. I said it after week 3, week 4, week 5, and I'll keep on saying it. He's the only intelligent footballer offensively we've got. He's the only one that looks like scoring. He's got that intelligence. He knows how to get in front of a player. He knows how to take your player on. He knows when to release the ball. I know Moyes is never going to do it, but it will come to a head soon, because Barry, he put a good shift in for 20 minutes today. He held the ball up. He got involved.
He did hold the ball up.
Beto right now is a complete waste of time starting for Everton. You're basically playing with 10 men, because the players right now, they're playing with Beto every single week. The manager said it time and time again, called him out. You've got James Tarkowski last week was saying in the press, like, we just need one goal from him and I'm sure it'll come. But that's not... The players know they're training with Beto on a daily basis. They know quite clearly he's not good enough. We've seen 60-odd games from him. He's not good enough. And that's it. So we need to change something. He should be an impact player now. So you'd either start with Thierry Barry going forward for the next 6 or 7 games.
I still don't think he's good enough to lead the line by himself.
I agree. I totally agree. Well, that's on the recruitment team. We spent all this money on Adam Asnu and Carlos Alcaraz and Tyler Dibling and all these players, when everyone knows in the Premier League they've all got better centre-forwards than ours. I watch a lot of Premier League games and I look there and going, there's Fulham there with 2 centre-forwards better than ours. There's Sunderland there with a better centre-forward than ours. There's Brentford there, signed a last player last season for 25 million. Plays up front. He's got 5 and 5, hasn't he, for Brentford? They've all got better strikers than us. Every single Premier League team. And I look at the 2 we've got, who cost us, 50 million between the 2 of them. They're not good enough.
Right, well, we've only just spent 28 million on Barry, and we're already saying he's not good enough.
At the moment.
Okay, that's fair enough.
If that's a project, but you're not signing projects.
Look, the conversation about recruitment it's pointless. We've got 10 games until the January transfer window opens, so we've got to find a solution now. Moyes has got to find a solution now.
For me. It's got to go.
Well, that is an option, but there's also an option which Moyes stumbled on at the back end of last season. There's the option which he stumbled on in the second half against Crystal Palace, and then it's just dropped completely out of sight. Beto as your striker,
you can't have
with
Beto
Charlie Alcaraz.
You can't have Beto starting for Everton. It's not. You're not going to win games of football.
Well, we did against Crystal Palace 2-1.
You win your game in the last minute. Everton will play in moments by lumping the ball forward to chase onto. You can't play like that.
Liverpool have won the league like that on countless occasions.
They don't lump the ball forward to the centre forward.
They just put the ball into the wings and run.
Liverpool have got world class play. They do not play long ball to Beto to chase onto. You never win games of football like that.
Their centre midfielders aren't the creative force in
so why have we bought Jack Grealish? Why have we got Iliman Ndiaye? And why have we got Kieran Dewsbury when we're just going to lump balls into the channels for Beto to hope onto?
Well, I'm starting to question that decision now, because we've brought players into the team that quite clearly don't suit the striker.
Again, so what's the problem here? The recruitment team, Moyes, or the style of football that
we're trying to transition from a team who sits with the low block, who plays a more of a direct style, balls over the top or balls into the channels. I've got no problem with playing with that, by the way. So we're trying to transition into a team that kind of builds up a little bit from the back with the Grealish and Ndiaye and a Dewsbury.
Well, that's what you want to see, isn't it?
But it's, I don't really care as long as we win football games, and we're not winning as many football games as I think we should be winning.
But you're not going to win many games of football by going long into the channels for Beto to chase onto, hoping that the ball sticks or he gets a foul or it bobbles somewhere. The lad doesn't know what he's doing when he gets the ball. Vicky van der Ven today was having a cigar at the back. He could not believe how easy that game was for him. So much so.
But we weren't playing that way though, were we?
But we're not going to play that way. That's why I'm saying it's absolutely pointless.
Yeah, so
he needs dropping.
That's on the manager though.
Exactly.
It's completely on the manager.
Yeah.
You're trying to transition from this one team to the other, and you've got kind of I know you're not going to be able to do everything in one window, but play to your strengths. Play to how your striker scores goals. Play to how your wingers.
So Grealish shouldn't be playing then if you're playing like that style of football?
Well, if I'm being totally honest, I think although Illumin and Dye is still probably the most creative force in the team on the right-hand side, let's face it, he's been shoved out to the right to accommodate Jack Grealish.
Yeah. And he's been brilliant, by the way. Been Everton's best player so far this season.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
But again, Grealish is starting to become a little bit isolated now, and we've said it in the past where he's doubled up on, tripled up on again, and I don't think he had a great game today. You know, sometimes he can slow the ball down a little bit too much or slow the play down a little bit too much, and he might check back when he could get a cross in. Look,
but they're still putting good balls in the 6-yard box in the first half. There's balls going in. You're going, you're asking for someone to knock it in.
Yeah, Beto should have scored at least one or got on the end of a couple today. Look, this post-match podcast always turns into a Beto drubbing, doesn't it? And
we can't go on like this.
Well, I think it's got to be that you've got to start looking at the manager.
I agree.
And this is not me saying I want Moyes out. What I'm saying is I want Moyes to start looking at the options that he's got available. Yeah. 10 games now we've got until the January transfer window. There's no way, Todd, we're going to go out there and probably buy this gem of a striker that you're talking about. I'll be very, very surprised.
But why are all the other clubs doing it, Ian? Why have 19 Premier League clubs all got better centre forwards than ours?
Have they?
Yeah, every one of them. Name me one that hasn't.
Well, I'm not going to go through the list.
Every single one of them have got better centre forwards than ours.
Let's talk about the game a little bit. Obviously, go 2-0 down.
Yeah.
And we think we get ourselves back in the game. Disallowed goal, goes to VAR. I'll be honest with you, I've seen incidents like that all the time, and I've seen the goals given. After watching it back, I can see probably why it's being disallowed. Obviously, he's kind of the keeper's sandwich in between Grealish and Ndiaye. So, although I am slightly annoyed, frustrated, disappointed with the decision, what's your take on it? Should it have been allowed?
No, I said to Connor straight away, and Joe and Chris, I said straight away, that's getting chalked off. You knew, because I know a lot of Everton fans will say, well, the goalie wouldn't have got to it anyway, but that's not the argument here, and that's not the rule, regardless of whether the goalkeeper would have got to it or not. There's a player disrupting him from attempting to go for the ball. Now, whether it was put in the top corner or not, there's still a player obviously holding on to him, and that was Iliman Ndiaye. And you had Jack Grealish on the other side as well. So you could quite clearly see it was offside. He went over to the monitor and said, yeah, he's interfering with the goalkeeper's line of play. Yet the ball was in the top corner, but he still wouldn't have had a chance of attempting to go for it anyway. And that's what the rule states. If the player is obviously involved in the lead up to the goal and disrupting the goalkeeper, it's offside. And it was offside, whether people or not like it. That's clear. That's clear as day. So yeah, that didn't go for us. The 2 set pieces that Tottenham scored. The problem for me is that we knew in terms of the data, and obviously I look at a lot of Premier League data in terms of like teams, how they evolve from set pieces and whatnot. And I knew straight away. I've been saying to a lot of Blues, who are asking, like, what do you think? I said today, I thought it'd be a 2-2 draw. I thought Tottenham will take the time taking set pieces, which they generally do. They take an average like 25 seconds per throw in. They were taking an age to take the corners because they were stifling the crowd. So if we're knowing that as supporters, then I'm sure Everton's backroom staff would have been saying to the Everton players, right, Tottenham's style of football is, right, they're going to get it in key areas, they're going to play for throw-ins, going to play for corners, and make sure we're on the button here. And Everton quite clearly wasn't. So I think it was just one of them from set pieces, and Everton kind of huffed and puffed and ran out of ideas in the end. But I think there's going to be a lot of games of football from now till January, until if they do something about that in the window, where it's going to be nip and tuck, there's going to be nothing in it. And that went a 3-0 scoreline today, far from it. It's just 2 set-piece goals, and that was it. Tottenham reverted back and thought, well, we'll let Everton on the counter. So you're going to get games like that, like Brighton, like West Ham, like Villa, like Crystal Palace, where there's not in games. 2 have gone for us this season. The home game against Brighton and the last minute against Crystal Palace. 2 could have went against us in Aston Villa and West Ham. They could have went for us. They never. Today did. And Everton are going to play like that in moments all season, because we haven't got that clinical edge in front of goal. Until we get that and address the left-back situation and sort the midfield out at the moment, that's the way Everton are going to set up from now till January, in my opinion.
Just looking at some of the stats, so we'll discuss them a little bit. So we had 53% possession to Tottenham's 47. Total shots, we had 12 and Tottenham had 7. I mean, this is where it gets to, for me, it's been the same old story. Villa, West Ham, maybe not Palace to an extent, because obviously we came back and won. Palace probably would be a bit aggrieved that they didn't go on to win that game, and I don't know what the stats were for that, but from the total shots that we had, 2 big chances, whereas Tottenham only had 7 shots and they had 4 big chances. So it just, for me, that just goes to show that although we did get the ball in the box a little bit, and I agree Beto should have scored, we're not creating ideal opportunities to score goals. It's all half-hearted.
Because it's not telepathic. The situation from Grealish and Ndiaye to the centre forward, they're not on the same wavelength. So while they're not on the same wavelength and you're still creating big chances, it's a bonus. So when you're creating them big chances, while the team's going through a bit of a transition period in terms of the forwards and Grealish and Ndiaye and Dewsbury, then the chances you do create, big chances by the way, you've got to snap up. And that first goal is absolutely key in Premier League football. And time again, like we've seen last week again at the Etihad, we've seen against Villa, if you don't score that first goal, you're always susceptible, and you just knew Tottenham were going to be more ruthless than Everton in the final third, regardless of... You just know when you sense as the game's evolving, you're going, you just know that if Tottenham would have got the chance that Beto scored, you guarantee Tottenham would have buried it. No, I'm not picking on Beto here. Dewsbury should be filling his boots there. He should be getting in the penalty area a lot more for a number 10, and he's not. So that's a big bugbear of mine at the moment in terms of Dewsbury, all the position he plays. He's a good player. He's good on the ball. Always works hard. But for a number 10,
he's not a 10.
I know he's not a 10, but he's playing there at the moment because we've got Grealish and Ndiaye, and you've also got James Garner in there and just a guy. So you need to put him somewhere. And obviously at the moment it's not working for him. So does Moyes put him in? Does he put him in the midfield alongside James Garner? There's an argument to it, and give it just a guy a rest. Who knows? But at the moment it looks as though that midfield area over the past couple of weeks has been getting overrun, and I think it's just a guy needs dropping out of it, in my opinion.
I want my manager to be decisive with some of his decisions, and when we've spoke about it numerous times over the past couple of weeks, that the lack of substitutions when we've needed them most. And today, okay, but he makes 2 subs on the 60-minute mark, so you could say it's a little bit earlier than what he's done in the past, but we're 2-0 down. So you want your manager to read that game and say, where are we struggling here? And it was quite clearly the midfield. You could see it from the start.
He was struggling from left back for the kick-off. Mikalenko's having a turret. He can't do anything about that. He was just weak. Yeah.
But the midfield, something that you can change. The midfield is something that you
he did eventually. Brought Rolland, didn't he?
You're 2-0 down, and Tottenham have already made their change as well.
Well, it was only about 5 or 10 minutes after Tottenham had made theirs, wasn't he? When he brought Roll on, put James Garner right back, which everyone's been asking for. Roll went into midfield, did okay to be fair, but would it have made a difference if he would have been brought on 10 minutes earlier? Not really.
I think you could have got a little bit more control of the game.
Maybe, but I think we're picking holes here.
I'm picking observations. There's holes in the midfield because we just keep getting overrun all the time.
And it's down to just a guy's legs at the moment.
And if anything, there's too much of a gap between the 2 holding and the two up top. There doesn't seem to be a go-between. Like Kieran Dewsbury is meant to be that go-between, and it's just not his position to play. But Moyes is consistently and continuously sticking with that. I mean, the frustration that I feel for Charlie Alcaraz at this moment in time, to come on against Crystal Palace and, to put in probably a 45-minute man-of-the-match performance, then to be thrust out wide against Manchester City and, albeit, not play very well.
He didn't play well. He didn't cover himself in glory.
Yeah, because of the position that he's in.
You can't just say because of the position he was. I know he's not a left winger, but you at least try and affect the game because you're not in position. Jake O'Brien hasn't been in position for the last 18 months. It's
just typical Moyes. Alcaraz has had a good game and Grealish can't play, so what we'll do is we'll put Alcaraz on the left. It's just shoehorn and plays into the team. There's 2 options. We've already discussed it. You say Beto shouldn't play for Everton again. That's fair enough.
Again. I said going forwards.
That's your opinion. I don't necessarily disagree. I think Illerman and Dye's got a case to be made to play up front, but I don't think Moyes is going to do that. I don't think Tierno Barry is good enough to lead the line by himself at this moment in time, although I felt like he did okay. Bit of a 20-minute cameo where he few won nice touches and held the ball up. But if you're going to play better and stick with it, I said this on Friday, I've said it countless times, it's not because I love Charlie Alcaraz and think he's this, messiah who's going to change the course of the season. It's the partnership between Beto and Alcaraz. They quite clearly know how to play with each other. They like playing with each other. They trust each other. You could see that completely against Crystal Palace. Okay, it was a Crystal Palace team tired from playing in Europe on the Thursday, but it was an effective partnership at the back end of last season as well.
It was okay.
Come on,
no,
so.
It was okay. It wasn't. It wasn't De Bruyne Haaland stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
it was effective for some parts.
Yeah, it was effective, and I think that's the case.
But that's not what we can't play like that anymore.
Well, we did against Palace, though, didn't we?
We did. We went for it with 20 minutes to go, and Irabunum got the penalty for us, running in behind.
Irabunum came on.
Exactly, won the penalty, and then we scored in the last minute. Then we just went for it. That's all that was. You can't judge. We don't play that style of football anymore. And that's the argument that we've got better. We've got Charlie Alcaraz.
Why are we so restricted on the style of football that we play? Why can't Moyes be pragmatic like he was at the back end of last season when fair enough, give him credit, he made that genius move where he brought Jake O'Brien in as right back against Tottenham last season. When we were in possession, it was like a 4-4-2. When we didn't have possession, it was Lindstrom as kind of the right back. No one saw that. Like, where's that? I'm really being harsh here, but I'm questioning where's that David Moyes? Where's that forward thinking gone? Because
we've bought Grealish and we've got Jude Biol. We bought them in the summer. That's it. You change. Everton have.
Well, they're meant to be better players. They're meant to improve the team.
Well, they have. The football that you've been watching the last 10 weeks is better football than what you've been watching for the last 5 years at Everton. Under Sean Dyche, under Benitez.
No, I don't agree with that.
Well,
I don't. Style of football is.
Have you not been oblivious to Sean Dyche's football in the past 2 years?
The football. I'm not talking about Sean Dyche. I'm talking about the football at the back end of last season under David Moyes.
Yeah.
The football under Sean Dyche was horrendous, and the people who listen to this podcast will know my feelings on Sean Dyche. There's no worries about that.
Same here.
So I've lost my train of thought now. Listen, all I'm trying to say is I don't care how we play, whether we play out from the back. I just want to win. Like, I just want to win.
All do, don't we?
I don't. If anything, the way we're playing now is more frustrating.
But I don't think the way we finished last season is not sustainable.
But I don't think we're good enough to play the way we're trying to play, even with Grealish and Ndiaye in the team.
I agree, because we haven't got the centre forward to play that. So it's kind of we're caught in a rock and a hard place at the moment. The team is, and you can quite clearly see that some of the players are like. The court in terms of like what we did last season.
The players are, so the manager needs to recognise this and change it, doesn't he? He needs. There's options there for him. Look, he's limited with the left back situation. I get it, but I mean Tarkowski had a bit of a nightmare again today. There is real scope now for taking him out the team. He's the captain, so he's never going to take
the captain out.
I'm just saying. I'm looking at like where are we weak? Where are we losing out on the pitch?
Well, we get left back. He can't change that because we haven't got another left back. We've spent 8-9 million on Adam Asnou, who's quite clearly not good enough. Again, did we need to spend 8 million on a left back who's not good enough at the moment? No, I would have rather got a centre forward in. But Tyler Dibbling, all these players we didn't need, in my opinion. But that's for another story. So the problem is, we get left back.
Well, we needed a right winger, but they've chosen Dibbling as the right winger, haven't they?
Yeah, and he's not up to scratch at the moment, is he? He's not looking.
Well, he's not up to scratch. However, I don't think he's been used correctly hard. I don't think
when
he's
come
managed.
in, he hasn't set the Wales alight. He started at the last home game, and he just couldn't win in the game.
Palace, but
winning the game, it took him off.
Barry started against Palace as well, and they were both dragged off.
He wasn't in the game, Dibbling, and I'm not asking him to like get involved. His attitude towards the game is just on the periphery, and then you had Alcaraz coming on who's pressing everything. That's a big key difference. Is that what you're doing off the ball as well as on it? So I just think there's a lot of signings Everton have made in the summer that they didn't need. And the Wales and his wife knew that we needed a centre forward. And it's hurting us so much because of the transition we're trying to play from last season's football to this. And that's where it's breaking down in key areas. We're whipping balls in the box. We're asking the centre forward to hold the ball up. We're trying to be ruthless in front of goal. And we're not. because the centre forwards aren't good enough. And we'll rinse and repeat. We'll try not to, of course, on the podcast, but this will be rinse and repeat from now till January until we get a centre forward that can A, hold the ball up, or B, have some game intelligence to get in front of the runners. To get in front of the defender, sorry. That's what it's going to be. So until that happens, it's about David Moyes trying to fall upon a style of play and the personnel in terms of trying to squeeze results out of the players that we've got at the moment. Because quite clearly, we're stuck in a rock and a hard place at the moment in terms of where the football we're playing and the results that we're getting.
What is the plan from your point of view? What are we actually trying to do? I
think the style of football and what we're trying to do is that Tarkowski and Keane are getting it from the back, obviously to Guy and Garner in the midfield, and then they're looking straight away, Grealish, Indai. Them two lads will get us right up the pitch, and then hopefully fizz balls into the box for Beto to finish off. Time and time again inside the first 20 minutes today, the ball was put right into the 6-yard box, and there's no one on the end of it. There's no one. And I think that's the style of football Everton are looking to play. And that's where it's breaking down in that area, because there's no one intelligent enough to get on. Look, when we play Wolves, how many times did the ball just get fizzed in, Beto scored from 2 yards out? That ball, that's constantly what Grealish was doing at Manchester City.
Why do we have to play like that every single game, though? Or every single minute of the game?
You could say that about Arsenal, you could say that about Liverpool. Every team has a style of play that they want to play. And that's just it. Now, with Everton's, it's like, you look what Nottingham Forest do now. Forest have got all these brilliant players, but they're going to be playing hoof football under Sean Dyche. That's just the way it is. Arsenal are very good at set pieces. For all the brilliant world-class footballers that they got, they're so super strong from set pieces. That's the style of football you got. Thomas Frank today, they've got a lot of very good footballers there. Brennan Johnson, Richarlison, all these brilliant players. But you know what? Guess what? The brilliance at set pieces. And that's what Thomas Frank is very, very good at, set pieces. Brentford the same under Keith Andrews. All these football clubs and all the styles of play match the players that we've got. And we're stuck at the moment with between the players that we've got and the type of football that we're trying to put out there, and it's not matching.
So my argument is David Moyes should be and is one of the most pragmatic managers I've ever known. Remember last season when it was like Amarim, and he just wouldn't, like this season he wouldn't change from his style. He'd always stick with the same formation. But Moyes came in because they came in around the same time, didn't he? Well, near enough anyway. And you know, we ended up finishing above United, and people were praising Moyes for his, you know, not just sticking to the same formation, not just, you know, sitting back, you know, being pragmatic and changing things and making, you know, your players and your team play to your strengths. And I just think that's been lost in this whole, oh, we've got a Jack Grealish now, we've got an Illiman and Dye, just because we've got a Kane and Dewsbury all. You know, I feel like those players now are almost struggling to fit in what the manager's trying to ask them to do. Maybe because they are getting frustrated at the striker. Maybe it's just that factor. I don't know. But I mean, Grealish was poor today. I thought Kane and Dewsbury was poor. The only one out of the forward line from the front four who looked like any danger, like he was going to have any impact whatsoever, and he wasn't doing it really in the right places, was because of the way he's playing, is Illiman and Dye.
Yeah, I think with that defeat now, the first one at home in front of the supporters, and I think with that defeat also probably cements us as in the bottom half now. We could have went into the top half. It would have papered over a lot of cracks. I think that defeat now will probably force Moyes' hands in changing the formation. Now, I wouldn't be surprised when we go to Sunderland on Saturday that he goes 4-5-1. I wouldn't be surprised. I think he'll change the style of play. He may go 4-3-3, he may go 4-5-1, whatever it may be. I think that defeat now at home, 3-0, puts us in the bottom half, looking over our shoulder now. We think, right, we need to change this. It's obviously not working. We were getting away with it. We were getting wins, getting points on the board, been to City away, been to Liverpool away, two of arguably the toughest games we'll play all season. We've got through it and we're still round about mid-table. And I think that defeat now may force Moyes' hands in terms of changing the formation.
Who's the five in midfield though? Because effectively, I know it's not 4-5-1, but you could argue that we're playing that anyway.
Dewsbury is kind of lost in that 10, so I wouldn't be surprised if he says to Dewsbury, right, I want you in there. I want you in there as an extra player. And maybe just a guy steps out and he puts Maitland Roll in there.
But then does that not just leave the striker even more isolated, whether it's Barry.
It may do.
Or
It may do, but at least he's trying something else, because obviously, quite clearly, right now, it's not working. So he will be. I'll guarantee he'll change it on Saturday. He'll change it on Saturday.
Monday.
It's Monday we're playing.
Playing Monday, aren't we? No, well, listen, I actually haven't got a problem with the formation, if I'm being totally honest. I just think that there's options there available to him that he could swap one or two players around and have a little bit of a rotation. I'm not saying Dewsbury should be taken out the team. That's not what I'm saying. I just think Charlie Alcaraz should feel hard done by being dropped today, and he was never going to come on with 7 minutes to go and change that game.
Yeah.
It was an almost pointless substitution. I don't know why he's just got to give him minutes. Fair enough. The midfield's weak. It gets overrun. It's not the first time it's been overrun. For all the good James Garner does in that team, I don't think you look at that and go, well, James Garner can't be taken out of that midfield. I don't look at that midfield and go, James Garner can't be taken out in terms of places as right back. I think there's 3 players in the centre of Kieran Dewsbury, Idrissa Gueye, and James Garner, who all have their strengths, all have their attributes within the midfield. But it's just not a cohesive unit at this moment in time. There's almost a bit of an imbalance. There's certainly an imbalance because we're playing a centre-back as a right-back. I mean, the amount of times, just to go back onto Jake O'Brien, that he could have overlapped for Illiman and Dye today, and he's just had to cut inside and try and take 3 or 4 players on.
I agree.
Try and read through some of the comments before we finish off. Garner isn't good enough and flatters to deceive, but he's in every game. Mark Foster says, Sunderland clearly have a system and a style and have brought the players to suit that style. They are fearless and do not respect the so-called bigger clubs. I mean, obviously, Sunderland, they're in a good moment.
Oh,
at
yeah,
this moment in time,
a very good moment.
Aren't they? And we do play them next, and it's going to be a tough game.
I've seen one there. Let's have a bet that it'll be the same starting 11. I'll bet you it won't be.
I think Merlin Roll probably has just played his way into the team. If there's changes, I don't think
he won't start with Beto either.
Well, it'd be bold to be honest, Beto plays better away from home. If he seems to be able to get the space.
I don't think so.
Tazul Islam says Garner is showing his age, and we need to plan to play without him. Ease him out the side. I agree to half of that. I don't agree with easing him out the side. I think he should be taken out the side.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that one.
Tim Dawson, we have a system and a style, but we don't have a striker to go with it. Beto ain't it, and Barry was supposed to be it, but he isn't yet. And then Mark Foster says Barry needs to play as one of 2 up front at this stage of his career. I mean, I think a lot of people suggesting that, aren't they? Because that's what he played for Villarreal, and basically that's what he's got his Everton move from. But I guess if you're going to play 2 up top, Beto and Barry, it's who drops out in the midfield. You're effectively going your 4-4-2.
No one plays with 2 up front in the Premier League, so forget it. Forget it. No one plays. It's football in the 1980s and 90s. You're not playing with 2 centre forwards up front this day and age. Even Sean Dyche, for how defensive minded he is, he'll never do that. You'll never. It's very rare now you will see 2 strikers up front in the Premier League because you're just getting overrun in every position. So it's just never going to happen, in my opinion.
I mean, we'll finish off now. Do we want to even suggest a man of the match for Everton?
Illiman Dye, by a mile.
I think it's fair enough, isn't it? I always feel a little bit reluctant to suggest or give a man of the match after a defeat like that. Certainly a heavy defeat. The
worry for me as well, I follow a couple of Man City fans, and I've got a few Tottenham fans on my social media accounts. And after last week's performance at the Etihad, a few City fans are saying, "Wow, how good was Illiman Dye in the flesh?" And already you're seeing Tottenham fans today saying, "Wow, I'd love."
Well, everyone's been saying it. Yeah.
They were saying like, "I'd love him Dye in a Tottenham shirt," and you're going, right. Says a lot how good this kid is, and if we need to keep hold of the likes of these types of players, we need to improve by signing good players, and hopefully that'll come in the next few transfer windows.
Guess who scored for Rangers today? Just popped up on my Twitter.
Yusuf.
Just dead quick before we do finish off. where are we now? We're 14th still in the league. It's
Yeah.
I mean, really, it was vital that we got them 3 points against Palace because things wouldn't have been looking great. That good start to the season would have turned
But isn't this where we're probably
where we
expected to be?
are. Well, I don't know. I mean, me and you both predicted...
ninth, I said Everton would finish, yeah.
So we're running 14th. Obviously, it's a long season, still plenty to play for.
Oh, Everton will finish somewhere between 8th and 15th. And that's the way it's going to be, because it'll swap. And until we literally get a ruthless centre forward who can hold the ball up, then that's just going to be the case at the moment. So, yeah. The only thing that I took from today is that all them players and all the money Everton spent in the summer, and they're all sat there on the bench. Now, there's two things for me that are there. Moyes isn't having any of them, or he didn't want them, and he's putting them there on the bench. That's the biggest take from me, to spend 84 million plus on summer signings and all to be sat on the bench is quite damning. That to me is like the manager going, well, they're not up to it yet. That is it. You've got the likes of Thierry Barry, Tyler Dibbling, Carlos Alcaraz, Merlin Roll and Adam Asnou all sat on the bench. And obviously the goalkeeper is new, but you're not taking him into consideration. 85 million for Everton Football Club is a hell of a lot of money they've spent in the summer, and they're all sat there, and the team not good enough to play football in the Premier League after 9 games. That's the biggest take I've took from this. Biggest take, that they've signed players that they don't need, and it's quite clearly obvious that, I'm sure every Evertonian can agree, we need one player to play in a specialised position that's going to take us from there to there, and we haven't got it at the moment.
Okay. We'll finish off. Do apologise for any sound issues at the start of the podcast. We did get back to hear me and Tony rant. We are going to be back tomorrow for another Royal Blue, so I'm sure we will be able to digest it further. I'm sure it'll be interesting to discuss. I mean, when you watch it back, a defeat like that, it's always a bit tough, but we'll try our best. Joe and Chris will be on tomorrow's show. I don't know whether I'm going to be on. I don't know whether I can take an hour of speaking about it.
I've got John there agreeing with me with a point. I'll take that.
What point did you make?
I can't remember. Was it on the new signings all sat on the bench?
Well, it's true, isn't it? But I do think the options are there for Moyes to try out different methods and different ways of winning football games, and he's just not. He's just reverting to type. He's being fairly predictable, and Tottenham are a good team. You know, it was always going to be a tough game, regardless of the starting lineup that he put out. But I want my manager to recognise when things are going wrong and immediately change them. And
I agree with you there. Like it should have been done at half time. You 2-0 down. I would have took better off at half time. I would have brought Roll on there straight away. But you don't know again. You don't know what. Like Roll's just recently come back from injury. You don't know what, obviously, the physio and the medical staff are saying. Like, he's only got 30 minutes in him. Don't be pushing him. He's got an injury recently. You signed him. You just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But one thing we do know is that he needs to change. Moyes clearly quite needs to change. The number 10, the forwards, and there's obviously a left-back situation at the pro. There's a lot to change, and at least we've got options to do that, whereas in last season we never. So at least you can start tinkering with this team now, looking ahead to Sunderland on Monday.
All right, that is all for today's post-match Royal Blue show. Give us some 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify, and give us a like on YouTube as well. Enjoy your night. Enjoy the rest of your week. I've been Ian Croll, joined by Tony Scott, and this has been the Royal Blue podcast.